the Giants' turn to try and answer. And here's Saquon Barkley. And he's off to the races. The 30, the 20. Saquon for 6. Deep to right field. Oh, baby. Put it on the scoreboard. The kid has done it again. Jordan. Open. Chicago with the lead.
Ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant good afternoon to everybody on the Lewis Sports Network. How is everybody doing? Coming back at you with another live stream with yet another video. Make sure to smash that like button. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Make sure your notifications are turned on, and make sure you guys are sharing this on your social media platforms. Truly appreciate it. Good afternoon, everybody. How is everybody doing on this Labor Day weekend? Hope everybody is having a wonderful day, and I hope you guys are spending it with your loved ones. If you are working today, hope you guys are having a productive day. I got to see if I'm going to be able to do tonight's game. I was trying to see if I can do the Celtics and the Raptors. If I can't do that, I will try to do the Clippers and Nuggets. So I'll see what happens, but I'll try to get on tonight. And if anything, I'll make sure to let my man D, the Godfather Jefferson, know what's going on so that we can obviously, do this game for you guys. Tomorrow, I am doing the Bucks versus the Heat for Game 4, and I'll get D on that too. So, but anyway, guys. Salute to my man Jay Jefferson in the building. Shout out to my girl Michelle's daughter, Bronx sister. Appreciate you. Shout out to Ryan, man. Appreciate you, bro. All right, man. Shout out to Ryan. Appreciate you coming through, man. Guys, make sure to like the video as you guys come in. Chopstick, appreciate you coming through as well. I mean, we got to see, man. We got to see. You're already saying, man, it's already King of the East, man. When you're the King of the East, you got to come out the East first. So we'll wait and see what happens, man. But that's right. That's right. Shout out to my man Ron. We are back at it. So I wanted to say, wanted to do this video because I know a lot of people have been going around and been saying that the reason that Steve Nash is head coach of the Brooklyn Nets has a lot of it to do with white privilege. So I'm here to debunk all that today. So that's why I decided to make this video and decided to, let you guys know pretty much my thoughts. And I came prepared with some research. So this is why I'm going to say that this whole new Brooklyn Nets hire by Sean Marks was not really much more about white privilege, and you're going to find out why. And Ryan, I kind of give him a little bit of a snippet, so he's kind of going to understand what I'm talking about. So, guys, grab some snacks. If you're a popcorn person, okay. If you like fruits, go grab some fruit. If you need some drinks, go ahead. Because what I'm about to tell you and what I just looked up is the reason why Steve Nash got hired. So here's the deal with the Steve Nash hire. I was totally surprised by a hire because it came out of nowhere. But it's been months and rumors that Steve Nash was going to be one of the head coaches of the Brooklyn Nets in terms of their coaching vacancy hire. So I found an article from the New York Times, and there's many articles about this. This was written by Mark Stein. So it says right here, Steve Nash, coaching newcomer, will take charge of the Brooklyn Nets. Now, Nash, two-time MVP, is believed to have been chosen because of the rapport he has established with Kevin Durant. So what I'm telling you guys is Steve Nash already has a relationship with KD. That played a factor into the decision. So there's that part. But people were saying that it was due to white privilege, which in part is just not true. And I'm going to get into more in depth on that in just a bit. But as I continue, former two-time MVP. By the way, what position does Steve Nash play? Steve Nash is a point guard. So when you hear that factor, I'm going to get into more in depth as to why he got hired. So it's his relationship with Kevin Durant because remember, Steve Nash worked with the Golden State Warriors as a consultant right at the time that Jerry West had just left Golden State. So there's that factor, right? All right, salute to G Money. Now, continuing, the Nets made a stunning move Thursday to fill their coaching vacancy by hiring Steve Nash, right? Hall of Fame point guard, two-time NBA MVP. All right. He doesn't have any coaching experience. Now, when I saw this hire, I said you have two great players in KD and Kyrie, And I said, if you look at the construction of the Brooklyn Nets with some of the players they've signed, you're saying to yourself, is this another Steve Kerr situation? And why? Because Steve Kerr also didn't have coaching experience when he got hired by Golden State after they fired Mark Jackson. Now, let me get to Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson, when he was hired by Golden State, did not have any coaching experience either. Okay? And he did a tremendous job with the Golden State Warriors being the foundation for what Steve Kerr took over. So I'm not discrediting Mark Jackson, and I'm not taking anything away from Mark Jackson. So there's that part. But he didn't have any coaching experience just like Steve Kerr. And yeah, Mark Jackson is a black coach. But here's the reason why Mark Jackson no longer is a head coach in the NBA. And it's a reason probably why he doesn't take any other head coaching jobs as well. Mark Jackson is a Christian. Mark Jackson has religious beliefs that went against what the NBA is about. In particular, the president of Golden State, Rick Welts, I should say, Rick Welts. If for those who know Rick Welts is gay. Now, Jason Collins, when he was on the coaching staff in 2013, this was around the playoffs when Golden State had won their 47th game of the season, I believe, and they obviously upset the Nuggets in the first round. Rick was afraid to openly come out and say that he was, that he was gay. Jason Collins was the first former NBA player to come out and say it. Mark Jackson was against that because he's Christian. So his religious beliefs went against what not only some members, obviously, that I just mentioned in Golden State, but also what the NBA is standing for and what they support now. So there's a reason to that. Also, you have to understand this as well. He didn't have any coaching experience. And the thing is also, there was a situation in Golden State with Festus Ezeli that happened and that he tried to divide the locker room. So because of that, he got blackballed out of the league. Rick Welts was not happy with the comment that Mark Jackson has said, that Mark Jackson was like, well, when they talked about Jason Collins being openly gay, Mark Jackson's comments was not in my locker room. Those were the comments that he said. And when he said that rubbed Rick Welts the wrong way. It rubbed him the wrong way, and he wasn't really happy about it. And he said that he had a lot of respect for Mark Jackson. They ended up talking about it, and, everything was fine. But there was something that happened. There was a couple of incidents that happened in the locker room that involved Mark Jackson. One involved with Curry, and the other one involved with Festus Ezeli. Part of it also was that they were saying that Curry, that he tried. I don't know if it's true or not, but they said that he secretly thought that Curry should have been traded. I don't know if those rumors are true or not, but I did read an article on it. Whether that news is real or not, I'm not sure. Let me just look into the comments real quick. Jay says Derek Fisher never had it either. I'm gonna get to D Fisher in a second. Derek Fisher was a terrible coach. He didn't make adjustments and call foolish timeouts. Okay. I redid my research and he apologized about my comment last night. It's all good, bro. It's all good. It's all good. G Money says salute. J Nathaniel Phillip, shout out to him. He says peace and love, my brothers and sisters. Salute. I was surprised that Brooklyn hired Nash. I thought they would have went Ty Lue, Pop, or Mark Jackson. Here's the thing: if they went with Steve Nash, it told me that Greg Pop was probably not going to be the guy to coach the team. Maybe he wasn't even probably interested to coach them. But here's the thing: the thing is, we have to understand this. Also, when he first took over, Steph Curry, he evolved under Mark Jackson. He became an two-time All-Star under Mark Jackson. In Steph Curry's last season with the Golden State, in Mark Jackson's last season with the Golden State Warriors when they won 51 games. Check this out. Steph Curry up to that point had his best statistical season. He averaged 24 points and he averaged 8.5 assists. That's to this day, that's Curry's highest assist season. Okay. So I think the reason they didn't go to Popovich, I think Pop is planning to retire. I mean, he has been coaching for what? He's been coaching for a long time, and he's been with one franchise for 22, 23 seasons with the Spurs. He won 5 championships. But the reason that I'm saying this, guys, is because Steve Kerr opened up the offense for Curry to be the Curry that we see today. Mark Jackson tried to make Curry into a playmaker and an isolation one-on-one player. That's not Curry's game. Even though his numbers showed that Curry was able to do it, Curry was not that comfortable being the playmaker / isolation player. That was not his style. Steve Kerr made Curry play more off the ball because I think he realized that Curry would have been worn down had Curry continued to try to be a one-on-one point guard. And with the way that the league was trending, at least a little bit at that time, because what people also fail to realize even in that period, the league was still playing at a somewhat slow pace during the 2013, 2014-ish. It was once the Warriors kind of became the Warriors, we entered into a new era in terms of we became kind of a watered down version of the 80s. It's just there's more scoring, and obviously the rules benefit the players today. Shout out to Anthony L. Appreciate you being here. Yeah, and that's the thing that people fail to understand. Curry was an ISO guy with Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson gave him the green light when he was with him. I would assume Kyrie's the one to have the ball in his hands more. That's right. What's good, Anthony L? Appreciate you being here, bro. And so that's why I continue to say that before we get on the Golden State Warriors and all that, it's we got to look at the facts. And Joe Lacob was saying that the reason he fired Mark Jackson had nothing to do with his religious beliefs, and it had nothing to do about what he said. Now, I don't know if that's to be true or not, but I'm sorry. But it is what it is. Mark Jackson got fired. Steve Kerr comes. The rest is history. They're also forgetting that Leandro Barbosa came in. So did Sean Livingston. So did Maurice Spates. Those three players were not on the 2014 Golden State Warriors team. They came on the 2015 team. That's another thing they forget. Also, Draymond Green came off the bench when he was with Mark Jackson. He went into the starting lineup when he was with Steve Kerr. Andre Iguodala and David Lee, who were starters with Mark Jackson, came off the bench in the 2014-2015 season for the Golden State Warriors. So they sacrificed. And David Lee was an all-star with Golden State and with my New York Knicks, right? Shout out to Freddie Gee. Appreciate you being here. Ron says, plus Curry in college, he played a lot off ball anyway. People forget that in Davidson. Now, Curry had the green light to score, but he played a lot more off ball when he was in Davidson. They forget that part, and they don't talk about that. And the thing is, so this is why, let me continue reading the article before we go crazy. And I'm going to get to the head coaches in a second. The Nets made a stunning move. Obviously, Nash is 46 years old. He's going to replace Jacque Vaughn. Now, Jacque Vaughn, guys, check this out. What position did Jacque Vaughn play when he was a player? He was a point guard. Isn't he black too? Now, he may not be, he was the interim coach. He wasn't the head coach, but he was a head coach nonetheless. And he's black. And he was a former point guard. Now, you're going to see where I'm going with this. Now, as I continue in the article, okay, Nets officials led by general manager Sean Marks decided to take a splashy gamble on Nash instead of hiring Vaughn or somebody else with more experience, believing that Nash is a coaching natural who would benefit greatly from his relationship with the star forward Kevin Durant. Boom. Nash has a former relationship with Kevin Durant when he was in Golden State. Does he have coaching experience? No. Neither did Steve Kerr, neither did Mark Jackson, neither did Derek Fisher, who was hired by my Knicks. Who hired him? Phil Jackson. But why did Phil Jackson hire Derek Fisher? Because he thought he could manipulate Fisher and do anything that Phil Jackson says. People got to understand Phil Jackson, bro. Mindset. Shout out to Karan. Appreciate you. He was and Derek Fisher. What position did Derek Fisher play? Point guard. Derek Fisher is a black man. He got to be a head coach. David Fizdale, who went to Memphis and was hired. He was an assistant under Eric Spoelstra with LeBron and D Wade and Chris Bosh in the Miami Heat, when he was down there. But when he went to Memphis, that Memphis team already was constructed. When he went to the Knicks and got hired by the Knicks, he was with a young team that James Dolan hired. And let me say something else too. The New York Knicks have hired more black executives and more black head coaches than any team in NBA history. I don't know if y'all knew that. Did y'all know that? Shout out to Emore. He says they would say Jackson doesn't write up plays, just motivated the team with speech. Just hate, I think. I'm going to be honest with Mark Jackson, Emore. And again, salute to you. Mark Jackson is a very good motivator, but when it comes to X's and O's, when it comes to offense, he's not that great. And as I just talked about, Curry was more of a playmaker and an ISO player under Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson gets the distinction that his teams are stagnated on offense. Your teams are stagnant on offense when you're with Mark Jackson. That's no disrespect to him. What he deserves a lot of credit for was improving the defense and improving the culture of the Golden State Warriors. He deserves a lot of credit for that. I don't know if he was ever going to get their offensive potential, though. That was the thing with Mark Jackson. That was the issue. Oh, yeah, I know you know. That's right. Dysfunctional. And also, you got to understand this. Exactly, Jay. Jacques Vaughn was a head coach of the Orlando Magic. Let me ask you another question. Let me say something else. Erik Spoelstra, who currently coaches the Miami Heat, did y'all know he used to play point guard when he was in high school and in college? And when he came into the NBA, he only played 3 years in the NBA. But Erik Spoelstra is a former point guard. Let me look it down the list. Tyronn Lue, who won a championship with Cleveland with LeBron James and Kyrie Irving. What position did Tyronn Lue play? The guy that guarded Allen Iverson in the NBA Finals in 2001. Black. What position did he play? Point guard. Hall of Famer Jason Kidd. What position did he play? Point guard. And he's black too. Half black, half white. I believe his father's black. Nate McMillan, the guy who just got fired. He was a what? He was a point guard / two guard. He's black. Unfortunately, he got fired, and that, it's unfortunate. But again, Mark Jackson, we just talked about. Black. What position did he play? Point guard. Also, y'all know, Jay, I hate to say this about your guy, man, but the OG, Isaiah Thomas, the man who won 2 championships with those great Detroit Pistons teams. What position did he play? Point guard. What teams did he coach? He coached the Indiana Pacers after Larry Bird was the coach of that team and ended up leaving. He coached Reggie Miller and those Indiana Pacer teams for 3 years. Then guess what? He became president of basketball operations with the New York Knicks. As a matter of fact, he was not only president of basketball operations, Isaiah Thomas also got to coach the team for a couple of seasons. We know how that went down with the Knicks. Not good. Joe Dumars, who was president of basketball operations in Detroit and did a pretty solid job. What position did he play? He was a combo guard, point guard / two guard. The reason G-Money that Derek Fisher was a terrible coach was because he was hired by Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson hired Derek Fisher when he could have hired other coaches. You know why he hired him? It was because so Phil can tell him what to do. Because remember, Derek Fisher played under Phil Jackson. How many championships did Derek Fisher win being head coach by Phil Jackson? 5. Shout out to D. Wilson. He says he's a Brooklyn fan. All right, shout out to you, man. Appreciate you coming through, man. Appreciate it. So this whole notion, let me keep going. Irvin Magic Johnson. Y'all know him? 5-time NBA champion, Mr. Unbelievable himself, who played for LA. Guess what? Magic Johnson is a Hall of Fame point guard. And he was given a head coaching job without any head coaching experience. How did Magic Johnson do? He quit 9 games into the season being head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. But not everybody talks about that about Magic Johnson. Just because you're a great player doesn't always translate with you becoming a great coach. It doesn't always translate that way. Yeah, it's true. Fisher was a proxy for Phil Jackson. And yeah, Phil was a terrible executive. The problem is Phil got that job because of his name and because of the championships he won. But Phil Jackson was a terrible executive for the Knicks. The thing is, as long as Phil was granted power, that's what James Dolan granted Phil Jackson. He granted him power. So anyway, Sean Marks, who decided to hire Steve Nash, he has a personal relationship with Nash because they used to play together. Sean Marks played with Steve Nash. But the relationship with Kevin Durant, also, I think Steve Nash is actually going to help Kyrie Irving. Does he have any coaching experience? No. And my question with Steve Nash is, how is he going to coach Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving? Because those are two stars, and Kyrie, you can make the case that both guys can be a headache, but Kyrie more so than Kevin Durant. Everybody knows about Kyrie Irving, right? Oh, yeah, you know the whole story, right? I'm looking at your comments, Jay. Oh, thank you for mentioning him, G Money. And I actually had him written down. Jeff Hornacek. What position did he play? He was a shooting guard, but he also played a little bit of point when he was in Phoenix. And Jeff Hornacek didn't do so well in Phoenix. Let me keep going. Doc Rivers, doesn't he currently coach the Los Angeles Clippers? He coached the Magic. He coached the Boston Celtics. Yeah. Right. Y'all know about Lionel Hollins? You know, Lionel Hollins, the guy who is an assistant coach under Frank Vogel. Well, check it out. He coached Memphis. He coached Brooklyn. What position did Lionel Hollins play when he was in the NBA? Wait. Oh, I know. He played point guard. Lenny Wilkins was a point guard. Paul Westphal, who coached Charles Barkley and those Phoenix Suns to the 93 finals. He was a two guard and he played point guard. Yo, do y'all remember Maurice Cheeks? You know, the five-time All-NBA defensive first team point guard? What position did he play for my New York Knicks and for the Philadelphia 76ers on that 83 championship team? Oh, that's right. He played point guard. Do y'all see where this is going? This ain't about white privilege. That's why Stephen A. Smith made himself look like a clown. Oh, thank you, Anthony L. I was just about to get to him. Avery Johnson, who got a head coaching opportunity with the Dallas Mavericks, who currently coaches in college. Terry Porter, who coached Milwaukee, where he's from, Wisconsin, and he coached the Phoenix Suns. Aren't both of those guys black? And also, weren't those guys point guards? They were point guards. So that's why we got to throw the race card out, man. Because this ain't about race. And Stephen A. Smith made himself look like a fool on TV a couple days ago when he was like, oh, you know, I love the move and congratulations to Nash, one of the all-time great players, but let's just call it what it is. It's white privilege. Stephen A. need to shut the hell up, bro. I need to smash Stephen A. in the face, dude. You really made this about white privilege, bro? You pulled the race card when this had nothing to do with race? And the worst part is, the black point guard, since you want to go there, Kyrie Irving, and that other black player, Kevin Durant, the small forward on the team, they co-signed on it, on Steve Nash coming. Oh, no. JJ, you're good. I'm just letting everybody know for people who are coming out there because I'm not saying you, bro, because I know you apologize. It's all good. Like, it's all good. What I'm basically trying to tell people out there who are saying that Mark Jackson, you know, needs to be in the NBA and it's all a black thing. Oh, I remember there's a player. Oh, Do y'all know Dwayne Casey? Dwayne Casey, isn't he black? And he coached the Detroit. He coaches the Detroit Pistons, and he was the coach of the year for the Toronto Raptors back in 2018. Now I'm gonna say this right now: we deserve more head coaches in the NBA. But now you have to ask yourself this question: do we need more black executives? Yes. Do we need more black owners? Yes. Do we need more black head coaches? Yes. But this notion that black coaches haven't gotten an opportunity and it's all about race is ridiculous. What I'm going to say is this. Why do you think that guys like Patrick Ewing and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar did not get a head coaching opportunity in the NBA? Patrick Ewing played what position? Center. What position did Kareem Abdul-Jabbar play? Center. Kareem was not even good enough to get a head coaching gig. He got an assistant gig. Take a look at Alvin Gentry right now, who got fired and released by the Pelicans. He's black, right? Take a look at Mike Brown. Thank you, Jay, for mentioning him. No, that's right. Stephen A. No. Stephen A. is a fool, bro. He's a fool. He's about the money, and he continues to make this a black and white thing. This just tells me that you can be in the league, you can cover the game as long as you want. But when you're nothing about narratives and you're just about the money, it just tells me that he knows no substance. But yeah, Mike Brown, he's another guy. Bernie Bickerstaff. Y'all remember Bernie Bickerstaff? I remember him. I know I remember a guy by the name of Sidney Lowe. Now, he was not a good coach, and those Vancouver Grizzlies were not a very good team, let's be honest. But, okay, check it out. Greg Popovich. He was a former point guard. Jeff Van Gundy, what position did he play? He was a former point guard in high school and college. Let's see. Do y'all know Kevin Ollie, who's in college right now? When he used to coach, what's his team? UConn? Point guard. Rick Carlisle, when he got drafted by the Boston Celtics, what position did Rick Carlisle play? Point guard. I'm trying to think of somebody else. Eddie Jordan, thank you. Larry Jordan. It was Eddie Jordan. Yeah, Eddie Jordan, former point guard. Hell, George Karl. He was a point guard in the ABA for the for the Spurs. George Karl used to play in the NBA, and he was a point guard. Larry Brown, the Hall of Fame coach, he was a point guard when he played. Point guard. Elton Brand, man, yeah, he's horrible. Do y'all remember Billy King? Billy King? It was about, he was a sabotager. Billy King, sabotage franchises, man. When I heard about Nash, I was like, good look for the Nets. Then Smith with his big mouth, hating like always. Here he goes yapping like he knows everything. I hate the tone of his voice. That's my point. Thank you, Emo, for pointing that out. So yeah, the reason that Steve Nash, he may not have it. Oh, Steve Kerr, what position did he play? He was a backup point guard for the Chicago Bulls, for the Orlando Magic, for the Cleveland Cavaliers, for the Portland Trailblazers, for the San Antonio Spurs. Shout out to my man RB the Breakthrough with the $2 donation, man. Appreciate you coming through, my brother. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. But I'm just getting sick and tired of guys who get hired. Everything is about, oh, he's white. Oh, it's like, did you even think about the credibility that Steve Now listen, there's some decisions that you probably you're gonna scratch your head like it doesn't make any sense. But with Steve Nash, he was a consultant in Golden State. So Nash has a relationship with Kevin Durant. You don't think that would be good for the culture of Brooklyn that he has a relationship? Oh, by the way, I got something else to say, bro. Oh, Scott Brooks, who was a backup point guard on the championship Houston Rockets. Didn't he get to coach he coaches the Wizards, and didn't he coach Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and what's his name? James Harden to the NBA Finals? But what position did he play? Point guard. Mike D'Antoni, or should I say no D'Antoni, Mr. Pringle Man. He was a former point guard that got a head coaching gig. Now we could call him an idiot all we want and all that kind of stuff. How about the man Byron Scott, former shooting guard? Isn't he black too? He got a head coaching job. He's coached the Cavaliers. He's coached the New Jersey Nets. He was an assistant under Rick Adelman in Sacramento. He coached the New Orleans Hornets. This whole constant use of the race card is getting ridiculous, especially by a guy who is not even for his brothers anyway. Mr. Stephen A. Simp. So my point is, if whether you're an okay coach, whether you're a great coach, coaches have to be able to develop a relationship with the players, and they have to be able to trust their players as well. But basically what I'm saying, guys, is that if you notice the head coaches in the NBA, they're point guard driven, guys. They're point guard driven. I just gave you a bunch of point guards, and some of you guys in the chat too, that just gave me a list of former point guards. I look at a guy like Rod Strickland. Yeah, no, I do agree with that, Anthony L. And the fact is there's some favoritism. Yeah, there is some favoritism. Scott Skiles, thank you, Jay. That's another one. Former point guard for the Orlando Magic, and then he ended up coaching the Phoenix Suns. He coached Jason Kidd. Shout out to Michelle's daughter. So Rico D, the R card is basically the race card. That's what it is, and that's what I'm talking about. So as we continue in this article, it was widely expected throughout the league that the Nets would target a marquee name for the role after Kenny Atkinson. I believe Kenny Atkinson was also a former point guard, I believe, when he played in college. And the team abruptly severed ties 6 months ago. Nash's name, though, did not surface in connection. Oh, Lawrence Frank. Y'all remember Lawrence Frank? Lawrence Frank was a former point guard. Vinny Del Negro. Thank you, Freddie Gee. Former point guard. Coached the Chicago Bulls, and he coached the LA Clippers. Right? So my point is that we've had point guard coaches and we've had black head coaches in the NBA that were former point guards. No, George Karl, what he didn't like about Melo G Money, he didn't like the fact that he didn't commit to defense. It wasn't that he didn't personally like him. He said he was the best offensive player that he had ever coached. These are George Karl's words. He didn't like Melo's attitude on the defensive end. So before you say that he didn't like Melo, he didn't like Melo's attitude on defense. It wasn't that he didn't like Carmelo Anthony. He said that Carmelo's offensive game was the best that he had ever coached out of any player he's ever coached in his career. The problem is he did not like Melo's attitude on defense. That was his issue. Steve Nash was a very smart player when it comes to his offensive skills and his great point guard ability. This is about intent. This is about the X's and O's, man. It's about the game. Steve Nash, I think, can improve Kyrie into becoming a better playmaker and listening. And trust me, if Steve Nash has a relationship with Kevin Durant, Kyrie I think is going to show Steve Nash the respect and is going to listen. Kyrie wills himself to be coached. Trust me. Kyrie was starting to do that in Boston. The minute he got injured and Boston saw success without him in the playoffs, that's when everything changed when he came back. Yeah, that's the better question, Tazone. Can he manage Kyrie? Because Kyrie marches to the beat of his own drum. So that's going to be the question. And Anthony L says, white privilege is when people like Michelle Beadle can call the blank higher ups and force them to suspend Stephen A over his Ray Rice comments. Facts. Facts. All right, so let me continue with the article by Mark Stein in the New York Times. So unlike previous suitors, persuaded him to make the leap into full-time coaching. So Nash says, coaching is something I knew I wanted to pursue when the time was right, Nash said in a statement. Marks, who got to know Nash when they were teammates in Phoenix for parts of 2 seasons in the mid-2000s, said in a statement that the Nets had met with a number of highly accomplished coaching candidates with diverse backgrounds. Yet Vaughn is the only other person known to have formally interviewed for the post, as reported Tuesday by The Athletic. In Steve, we see a leader, communicator, and mentor who will garner the respect of our players. These are the words of Sean Marks, as he said. So Vaughn had an interim coach since Atkinson's ouster on March 7th, where the team was on course for a playoff berth. So despite missing most of let me mention another coach right now. Let me mention another coach. Rudy Tomjanovich, 2-time NBA champion with the Houston Rockets. He was a former point guard and actually, he played for the Houston Rockets and he got to coach them too. Don Chaney, who was coach of our New York Knicks. You look at the great Pat Riley. I believe he was a point guard, or I believe he was the backup to Gail Goodrich on that 72 Lakers team. I could be wrong about that, but y'all remember Bill Russell, the first African-American head coach in NBA history. I think Mike Krzyzewski was also a point guard. So that's what people have to understand, man. When you look at all of these head coaches, especially in today's game, they're all driven by point guards, man. They're all driven. It's a point guard driven league when it comes to head coaches. And if you look at where the league is trending to right now, you're looking at you got to have dynamic wings, and it's also got to be combated with a point guard, with point guard play. But a lot of these head coaches in the NBA were former point guards, whether they were black point guards or whether they were white point guards or whether they were Asian point guards, Filipino point guard. It doesn't matter. I mentioned Larry Brown. I think Greg Popovich also was a former point guard as well. So, that's what people need to understand, man. So this is why I continue to say that when we are so quick to judge, it's like we got to do our research. And like I said before, Spencer Dinwiddie, the backup point guard to Kyrie Irving, approved of Steve Nash being the head coach of the Brooklyn Nets, along with Kyrie and KD. Brett Brown, who did a terrible job in his time in Philadelphia, stayed, to me, a lot longer than he should have. So Anthony L has a great point. There are some of these guys that, to me, there's a lot of favoritism in the league. But to say guys haven't gotten opportunities is ridiculous, especially when you play the race card. Stephen A should no longer be ever talking basketball again. Never, ever, ever, ever in his life. I'm sorry. Never. He is entertaining as hell on TV, but I can't stand the fact that he would just come out and just spit all these narratives that it's all about. He had to be checked by Jay Will and by Richard Jefferson. Richard Jefferson said, I get it. there should be like more, of a black influence in the league when it comes to some of these positions in the NBA. But the fact that what is it? He said maybe it was just the fact that he has a relationship with Marks. He's got a former relationship with Kevin Durant. Stephen A. didn't even regard that. He said it was all because of white privilege. That right there tells me he just doesn't have a clue on what he's talking about. No clue. And that's sad. It's sad. Yep. Danny Ainge was a former point guard. Emore. Right. Tyrone Corbin. He coached the Kings, and he also coached what's this team I'm thinking about? Utah. There you go. He was an assistant under Jerry Sloan. Wasn't Jerry Sloan a combo guard, point guard, and shooting guard when he played for the Bulls? And he took the head coaching job from Frank Layden in the late 80s. That's another coach that was a former point guard. That's another thing. I'm not answering that question, G Money. You've asked that question way too many times. By the way, and I'm pretty sure this is going to hit Anthony L. home a little bit. The players had an opportunity to stand up for social injustice during the Donald Sterling time when he was owner of the Los Angeles Clippers. They had a chance to boycott the playoffs. Did any of those players boycott the playoffs? No. They decided to keep on playing. That's why when I saw the Milwaukee Bucks decide to do a 3-day boycott and not play one single game, I asked myself, what was the point? You're already in the bubble. I said, if you really wanted to not be there, why didn't you just leave? But I knew that wasn't going to happen. Stephen A's getting tired of being called the sellout tie zone. Well, guess what? I'm going to keep calling him that. And it says it right here. Sean Marks had quietly targeted Steve Nash for some time. Quietly. They could have gotten Tyronn Lue, but Tyronn Lue wants a lot of money. That's what he and Ty Lue had a chance to be the Lakers coach. They offered him a 3-year, $18 million deal, but Ty Lue wanted more money. So he said no and decided to be a assistant under Doc Rivers again, like he was when he was in Boston. I want to see a guy like Sam Cassell get a coaching opportunity. I want to see a guy like Juwan Howard get a coaching job opportunity. Oh, by the way, Sam Cassell is a former point guard. Sam I Am, who hit big shots when he was with Milwaukee, who hit big shots for the Houston Rockets in their 2 championship runs. Yeah, that's Sam Cassell. So, yeah, that was the reason that Sean Marks went after Steve Nash. And that also basically goes to show you that you don't always have to publicize your moves. Sean Marks wanted to keep it quiet. That's fine with me. So as much as it was a surprise, yeah, Steve Nash does not have any coaching experience. And I also agree that you can't always be a great coach. You can't go from a great player to a great coach. It doesn't always happen that way. It's not an easy transition. Phil Jackson found out the hard way when he became an executive. Everybody's like, oh, man, because Phil won 11 championships, he's going to turn the Knicks around. We became a worser dumpster fire than what we already were when Phil Jackson got there. In his tenure, he was terrible. Isaiah Thomas. I thought Isaiah was going to help us out. But we were a dumpster fire, and then Isaiah got himself into a couple of scandals with the Knicks. It's one of the reasons why Isaiah Thomas has not gotten another opportunity in the NBA, guys. Shout out to Raduni. Appreciate you being here as well. Yeah, the league forced him to sell the team. And you want to know why NBA ratings are down, guys? It's because of this whole. It's because of this. The NBA has become politics. They're trying to get involved in politics, and a lot of these players have no clue what they're getting themselves into. They're hashtagging this whole Black Lives Matter thing to put it on their jerseys, like if it's really sending a message. It's not. And the thing is, also, you have to understand this: the players, the guys who make max money, they're going to say what they want because they got paid. And the reason they're going to get support in what people are saying is because they got paid. The other players who don't make as much as the top superstars and stars of basketball, yeah, they could decide if they wanted to boycott, but guess what? They're not going to get paid. That's why they higgity hushed real quick and decided to continue to resume the season. That's why I said that boycott was BS from the start. Which is why I said, if you look at the ratings are down 27%. 27%. In the first round of the playoffs, only drew 1.94 million viewers per game. Down 27% in the last 11 years. He was a former, exactly. Sean Marks not only played for the Spurs, but he was the former Spurs GM. Exactly. Did y'all also know that Steve Nash had also tried to hire Dirk Nowitzki, future Hall of Fame Dirk Nowitzki, to be part of the coaching staff? You know how much respect Kevin Durant has for Dirk Nowitzki? A man who Kevin Durant has consistently thanked and said that a big could dominate as a perimeter player. KD likes Dirk a lot because he said the fact that Dirk was able to dominate scoring the basketball for being his height. Kevin Durant thought that guys like him wouldn't belong in the NBA with his length and size. They thought he should be in the rim. But a guy like Dirk Nowitzki is a guy who KD looked up to and really thanks Dirk for Kevin Durant to being able to be the player that he is. And Kevin Durant is studying the likes of a Michael Jordan, of a Kobe Bryant, of a Kyrie Irving. He looks at guys with skill. That's what Kevin Durant is about. He's about with guys who he sees as skilled players. Stephen A's fake ass try to act like he's for blacks, but Stephen A's a puppet. He's a puppet. Thank you, Ron. Adam Silver is trying to make the league into this woke league, and it's killing the league. Kyrie was exactly right, Tyzone. And the thing here's the thing though. The reason I'm mixed about it is for this reason. Although that Kyrie Irving is right, the problem also is that remember also that Kyrie was the one that also said that they were saying that Kyrie really didn't have a plan on what he wanted to do with this idea of boycotting. Kyrie Irving also did say that this should have happened beforehand. But Kyrie Irving also said that he would join his team if they decided to go down to the bubble. He said he was going to be there in support. Now, he ended up not doing it, obviously. The thing also, Kyrie was doing his job as vice president because players felt that LeBron was having so much say-so that their voices weren't being heard. And did y'all remember what happened when LeBron James, when they said for LeBron to be on that conference call that Kyrie Irving had invited him to and the other players to be a part of? LeBron denied. So if LeBron has so much respect for Kyrie Irving, why did he deny the call? And that's my problem. That's why when I was looking at Stephen A and saying white privilege, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. You just heard that there was a relationship with Sean Marks and Steve Nash. You just heard that there was a relationship with him and Kevin Durant. Nash won a couple of championships as a consultant. Stephen A not once mentioned any of that stuff. Not one time. And he had to be fact-checked by Jay, who I'll come out with another video with the whole LeBron Pippen thing. I'll have a panel for that one because I would love to get people's thoughts on that. And then Richard Jefferson checking Stephen A and saying, wait a minute, like, I get what you're saying, man, and I feel you, but it's like, yo, this whole thing with white privilege, I said, maybe it's because Nash has got some credentials that he's got some familiarity. it's always good when you get somebody with familiarity because sometimes you don't always, you know what they say, man. It's at least you have the devil you know to the devil that you don't. And the thing is with Sean, and I'm not calling Nash that, but I'm basically saying he has a previous relationship with him, and Kevin Durant has a relationship with Steve Nash. Kyrie Irving is going to be the wild card. If Kyrie Irving can fall in line and pretty much get coached by Steve Nash and is willing to be coached by Steve Nash, I can't see why him and KD can't work. So the thing is, I'm gonna say it at the same time. I think it's a good hire, but at the same time, we still have to see how Nash is going to do in Brooklyn. We have to see. Also, I gotta wait and see how KD is gonna look off that injury. He looks good in practice, but where it counts is on the court. We have to wait and see how KD looks like. As the other Jay has always mentioned, and I agree with him 100, I'll keep it 100. The only player to really successfully bounce back from a Achilles injury has been Dominique Wilkins, where he was still able to have productive seasons. So I don't know how it's gonna work. I wouldn't say Steve Nash is too nice of a guy because if you look at his playing days, he had his feisty moments too as a player. Take a look at that 2006 playoff series against the Lakers, and you can see some of Nash's feistiness. Look at when he got hip checked by Robert Horry in the 2007 conference semifinals against the San Antonio Spurs. Trust me, Nash may look like a nice guy. He may seem like a nice guy, but Nash has got his feistiness. Now, I'm not saying that Nash is going to beat people up or anything like that, but Nash is pretty tough. Nash is a pretty tough player. Now, G Money says, do you think that the Nets are going to keep Karis LeVert, Harris, and Jared Allen? That's going to be tough. I don't know what the Nets are going to do with that. I don't know. I would keep Karis LeVert. That's for sure. Spencer Dinwiddie wants to go, but now the fact that he's now happy that Steve Nash is there, is he going to want to stay? So I don't know. Brooklyn has a lot of decisions to make. And the thing is, Brooklyn has a deep roster, so they're going to have to figure out who they keep and who are they going to decide to, let go. I really feel, though, they really should keep Jamal Crawford, though, because Jamal Crawford can still play, and I think he would be a nice veteran presence in the locker room for Brooklyn. And he could be kind of a mentor to Kyrie. Well, they better, if they run all over him, Steve Nash will be, depending on what this guy is going to do. Whatchamacallit? What's his name? On what Sean Marks is going to do. But yeah. So that's basically what I wanted to say, guys. Nash has resisted multiple overtures to join an NBA coaching staff full time. But this is why I said I feel like it has a Steve Kerr ring to it, because notice that when Nash took the hire, you already got two great players. So it's not like he's building a team from the ground up. He's already coming into himself into a good situation. They do have question marks to do the Brooklyn Nets. Is he going to get them to be able to be a great defensive team? Because that was one of the issues with Brooklyn this past season. They were not a good defensive team. So he's going to have to need a defensive coordinator, if you ask me, to really fix that defense for Brooklyn. But offensively, they're going to be head and shoulders better than what they've been last year. So Nash also said that he has said repeatedly that he intended to put his coaching and front office aspirations on hold, and of his 5 children were older. Let's see. He gauged interest in coaching and front office work. Robert Sarver, the Phoenix owner, has stayed close with Nash since his playing days. And, oh, wow. So he actually he included him in getting ownership of a soccer team. Oh, that's cool, in 2016. So, yeah, it was Sean Marks and the Nets team owner, Joe Tsai, who persuaded Nash to move up his timetable and make an immediate leap to head coaching. It was similar what the Nets' previous resume did in 2013, hiring Jason Kidd. Because remember, Jason Kidd had just retired from the Knicks. He was really a player coach for our 2013 team and quickly became a head coach of the Brooklyn Nets with no head coaching experience as an assistant or as a head coach at all. Another guy who I would like to see get an opportunity to coach in this league would be Jerry Stackhouse, who's in the G League right now, I would like to see him get a head coaching job. Jawan Howard is another guy who I would like to see get a head coaching job as well. I don't think AD is going to be a Brooklyn Net. I doubt that. I don't think it's going to happen. I have more faith in Jamal Crawford than I do Michael Beasley. G Money. I'm being real honest. The thing I worry about KD pairing is how he and Kyrie are going to work together. It's one thing being boys. It's another thing to try to play together. Remember, and Anthony L says LeBron is an attention seeker. He intentionally came to a press conference reading an autobiography of Malcolm X. Oh, man. LeBron reminds me of that woman who pretended to help take off the walls of a store. She took the drill and pretended to drill. She didn't even turn on the drill just to be on social media to say she was helping out the community. And when she got called out for her fake claim to be helping out the community, she never posted anything on Instagram again. And she is a famous Instagram head. I don't remember her name, but much respect to you, Emor. Much respect. And again, guys, make sure to like the video as well. So yeah, man. We got this whole, head coaches thing. Oh, Mike Woodson. Damn, I just forgot. I just remembered Mike Woodson. Mike Woodson, who coached my Knicks and coached Detroit, and he also coached Atlanta. Former head coach. Keith Smart. I don't know for people who remember him. He also was a black head coach in this league. Lloyd Pierce, who currently coaches the Atlanta Hawks. J.B. Bickerstaff, son of Bernie Bickerstaff, coaches the Cleveland Cavaliers right now. Monty Williams, who led the Suns to 8-0 in the bubble. So there you go. So yeah, there's been opportunities. So yeah, man. I just wanted to do this video, man, in retrospect, for people in the chat, for those who try to understand that, again, this had everything to do with the credentials of Steve Nash. That's all this was. So yeah, I would like to see him as well. So that's all that this is, guys. All this had to do, really, honestly, was more so about the credentials and the relationship and the familiarity that Steve Nash had with those guys in the organization. That's all this was. Michael Curry, thank you for mentioning him. He took over Flip Saunders after Flip Saunders was no longer a Detroit Piston the very next year. Thank you for mentioning him, Jay. I forgot about Michael Curry. And he used to play for the Detroit Pistons. Thank you for mentioning that. Thank you. Yes, we know about Mike Brown, former Cavaliers, Lakers, and even at times Warriors head coach. Take a look at Luke Walton, for example. He got a head coaching job after going 39-4 with the Golden State Warriors. He was not that great with the Lakers. To be partly fair to Luke Walton, the issue with him was LeBron decided not to be coached by him. And then as soon as Luke gets fired after 3 seasons with the Lakers, he immediately gets a head coaching job by Vlade Divac. And he has not done a great job there. Now, even if the Kings have had injuries, I've always questioned. The only thing that I give Luke Walton credit for was him coaching Kyle Kuzma and utilizing Kyle Kuzma the right way. That's the only thing I'll ever give Luke Walton really credit for. But he was not a great head coach. Billy Donovan, former point guard, who coached Florida to 2 national titles and is the current coach of the Oklahoma City Thunder. So at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, exactly, Anthony L. This is an rest in peace to Flip Saunders. Facts. Stephen A. Simp does it again. Exactly. He did. He had that sexual assault case. It got this, and he was still able to get that job. So I agree with Anthony L. He's right. There's some player coaches in this league that get favoritism. and there should be more black head coaches in the NBA. But my point is, a lot of these head coaches, either black or they were former point guards, are the reason that a lot of these guys get the job. And there's favoritism, and there should be more head coaches in this league, for real. Oh, you mean when Nelly Furtado had mentioned Steve Nash in that promiscuous song, Chopstick? I think that's what you meant, that she had that affair. And Anthony L speaks facts, bro. Listen to this, what he says. This was also about Stephen A creating unnecessary controversy just to boost ratings for his network. Facts. Facts. Because remember, according to him, according to everybody, he's been carrying the networks on his back. That's why he gets paid the big bucks, because he's been carrying dudes on his back on the networks. Shout out to Bodega Wi-Fi. Appreciate you being here. He says Stephen A is just trying to manipulate other teams like the Sixers to hire Mark Jackson and Lou Williams. How about this? He's also trying to manipulate Giannis Antetokounmpo to go to the Golden State Warriors. So what? It could fit your narrative to say that he should have never left Milwaukee. He looks weak for making that move. And again, Golden State becomes the juggernaut with Stephen Curry, and then with Draymond Green and Klay Thompson and Andrew Wiggins. They're going to have a squad now. That's why I continue to tell you guys, never, ever, ever listen to Stephen A. Smith again if you do listen to him. But I know a lot of you guys don't even listen to Stephen A. Stephen A. is a clown. He is a court jester for the media. That's all Stephen A. cares about. He's about forcing fake-ass storylines. That's all he cares about. So again, guys, make sure to like the video. So that's why I continue to say I'm sick and tired of this clown. Anthony L., Jay Jefferson, and to some people in the chat, I'm going to come out with the Giannis being compared to Scottie Pippen video and put LeBron in it answering to Jay Williams. And I would love to get your guys' opinion on this. So I will send in the invitations. Shout out to Arnis, man. Appreciate you, man, as always. Yeah, Kuz played 35 minutes a game. He did. But I thought he used them very well. Frank Vogel does not use Kyle Kuzma very well. He doesn't. Stephen A. is Pennywise? Oh, that's facts. Anthony L. says, oh, yeah, but you want to criticize Kevin Durant, but you got no problem with Giannis Antetokounmpo. But Stephen A. is setting him up. Anthony L. says, I do think Adam Silver is trying too hard with all of this fake woke stuff. It's starting to make these players look silly. He only allowing it because social injustice talk is what's cool and trending. That's the problem with Adam Silver. He does what the cool thing is to do. He's all about trend. He's all about brand. He's all about the bucks. Adam Silver doesn't have a backbone. He does not have a backbone. Why do you think the NBA ratings were so high in the first place in the 80s and 90s? It's because the NBA was never about politics. That's the reason that ratings were so high, which is why, as much as I got on Michael Jordan and I'm keeping it a buck, and there were times where I could say, Michael, you should have spoke up. But at the same time, I'm thinking about it now. People don't care about that. They just want to see the basketball brand. They don't want to see politics get involved. And as much as I don't agree with Donald Trump, he's absolutely right. The reason that the ratings are down is because the NBA, a sport, is getting involved in politics, and the players have absolutely no clue what they're getting themselves into. They got no clue. Oh, Jay says, I really hate Scottie Pippen. Oh, man. G-Money says, in my opinion, I understood why KD joined Golden State. He wasn't going to the East with the big three Cavs were around. You also got to understand this too, man. I get on Kevin Durant in terms of the way he played in those Western Conference Finals. He shot the ball horrible. But let's be real about this, guys. OKC was playing street ball during Scott Brooks' tenure and in Billy Donovan's first year with the Oklahoma City Thunder. They had a pretty good defense. They were a great rebounding team, and they had a superstar, and I'll say they had two superstars. But the IQ and the poor shooting and their inability to shoot the three, which is something that Steph Curry and Klay Thompson can do, which is the Warriors' bread and butter, is why they lost the series. KD and Russell Westbrook combined in that 7-game series had 56 turnovers. 56. Russ had 31. KD had 25. I don't excuse KD because he didn't take care of the basketball. But I said I give Kevin Durant credit to be able to shoot 50% in a very clogged up paint. There was no space really for room for him to operate. And I'm glad that Scottie Pippen put Richard Jefferson in his place. He said, who are you as a player? LeBron James is a 4-time MVP, 3-time NBA champion, 3-time finals MVP. At the very least, LeBron was the best player on his championship teams. Scottie Pippen was a 6-time NBA champion. But yeah, LeBron James does have a Scottie Pippen type game. But when it comes to accolades, LeBron is not a Scottie Pippen at all. I'm sorry, Karam. I got to bring up your thunder, bro. But it was just to make the point about Russ. KD was not going to win with Russell Westbrook. All these people out here who keep saying, "Oh, they should have ran it back with Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook." Look how much Russell Westbrook is struggling to just try to win a playoff series without Kevin Durant. I'm not saying Kevin Durant didn't need Russell Westbrook. Every great player needs help. They need that second guy on their team. But that second guy in Russell Westbrook, 12 years in the league, and his IQ is just not there. I'm sorry. Russell Westbrook, if you watched that Laker game last night that I did, Russell was still trying to play. Russell still has not learned how to slow the game down. He's still trying to play at 150 miles an hour. And Houston had a great game plan despite the fact that their bench did not really score and the fact that they took about 25 less threes than how much they would normally take. That's scary that if their threes start to fall, the Lakers are going to be in trouble in this series. Pip has accolades, but they're not crazy major, man. You cannot use the 1-9 argument when Scottie Pippen didn't win. They didn't win until Scottie's 4th season. All right. We don't know if Lou Jens makes that shot though. Would you take Reggie Miller over Scottie Pippen? No, I'll still take Pippen over Reggie. Because Pippen has the intangibles that Reggie didn't have. Reggie was more clutch than Pippen when it comes to big moments, but Scottie Pippen's got the intangibles that Reggie does not have and was a much better defender. And we're going to have to see what Russ does in this series because this could be huge for Russ. If Russ finally got out the first round with James Harden. James Harden has pretty much been out of the first round many times. He got to the conference finals twice. Something Russ has never done. So now Russ had a little small breakthrough, but now we got to see what he does against the Lakers. People think KD should have gone to the Clips, but LA wasn't too injury prone and get hurt at the wrong time. Tell the Braun Sexuals that Braun didn't make it in his first 2 seasons. He didn't. I would take Reggie Miller. Okay, that's cool. I get it. I think in key moments, I would take Reggie Miller over Scottie Pippen. If we're talking about big moments, if I need a big shot, I won't count on Scottie for that. What's going to happen to Russell or when his athleticism declines? Good question. That's a very good question. I don't know. All right, let me just finish this article so I can pretty much. All right, and that's pretty much the end of the article, guys. That's pretty much it. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being a part of this stream. I appreciate everybody being here. I just want to say salute to the entire chat for being here. I'm going to now go for now, but I'm hopefully going to try to come back and do that Clippers Nuggets game later on. I'm going to say this right now, man. I feel like that the Clippers, to me, this is really target practice for them when it comes to going up against the Denver Nuggets. The Rockets were tired just as much as the Nuggets were. The Clippers blew them right out of the water, and the Rockets played a solid game, even though it wasn't their best game, and they beat the Lakers by double digits. The key for the Lakers to beating the Rockets is going to be LeBron and AD, especially Anthony Davis. If Davis does not dominate that small lineup, it's going to be Anthony Davis's fault more than it is LeBron. LeBron's going to get his slack from me, but it's really going to be more so AD because AD is the best player on the floor other than LeBron James. So he has to dominate the matchup. I think the Raptors tied the series up. Oh, I'm going to look for that video, Bodega Wi-Fi. I'm going to look for it. That's true. That is true. He was a franchise player. Well, you have to understand something, G-Money. I didn't see the Nuggets going deep into the playoffs for one reason and one reason only. Defensively, and the whole Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray tandem. I don't know whose team it is. They don't really have an identity. I don't really think that it was going to be that way. I thought it was going to be that way coming into the season. But the way they came out the gates, I said, no. So we're going to see what happens. The Nuggets to me, how about Sprewell or Scotty? Oh, that's a tough question. That's a tough question. I might have to do a future video on that between Latrell Sprewell and Scottie Pippen. I think that's an interesting one, Chopstick. I like that. They're going to blame it on AD. He's going to be the scapegoat. What happened to all that talk about LeBron carrying Kobe legacy, man? No points in the fourth quarter from what I heard. But you know what they're going to say, Anthony L? Oh, it was just one game. But the Houston Rockets were tired. They just came off a 7-game series like the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets, in my opinion, are going to be target practice for the Clippers because it's going to give them time to really work out their chemistry. That's not going to bode well for the Lakers if they're in a dogfight against the Houston Rockets. It's not going to bode well. I still pick the Lakers to win the series, but it's going to be tough. I don't know about that. I don't know if they're going to advance to the Western Conference Finals if they get game 2. I'll say the Lakers are in trouble, but I'm not ready to say that yet. If the Lakers go down 0-3, then I'll say that. Gonna have to make their presence felt in the paint. Yep. K Jones, shout out to K Jones, man. He says LeBron James, Jerome James, Bernard James, don't matter. Rockins for salute to you, K Jones. But again, man, shout out to everybody, man. Guys, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And Bodega Wi-Fi says Sprewell was a dog. Facts. I remember the game he played with the broken ankle. Facts. What he did with my 99 Knicks, I will never forget what Sprewell did. That dude is a dog. I know he's had a lot of controversy in his career, but my man Sprewell was a dog, bro. No, the Rockets don't deserve an excuse. But the Golden State Sprewell was a problem. I don't know about Pippen being better than that version of Sprewell. I think we're going to have to do a future video on that, man. The Nuggets have no shot against the Clippers. Yeah, more longevity. Oh, yeah, he got his little chase down and thing. But let's face it, was LeBron doing that in the last 4 to 5 seasons of his career? No. Sprewell was underrated. That's facts. All right, guys. Have a wonderful rest of the day, and we'll be back later on tonight for the Clippers and the Nuggets. Make sure you guys pull up for that. Salute to the entire chat. I appreciate you guys. And at the end of the day, I'm going to say this right now. Brooklyn got a good hire. We just got to see what they're going to do with Steve Nash. I wonder how he's going to perform as a head coach with no coaching experience. Who does he get for his coaching staff? And then how he's going to be able to handle Kyrie Irving. How does Kyrie and KD play well together? We're going to see. But anyway, guys, salute to all you guys. Appreciate you guys being here. Bless up, live, laugh, love. As Ryan always says, we chat together, we stream together, family for life. Have a wonderful rest of the day. We'll be back tonight, Clippers and Nuggets. I'll send D the info. Hopefully he could do that game with me. And as the Lewis Sports Network always says, and I'm gone.
Head in the lead. That's skied out to center field. Towering shot. A.J. Pollock going back. That is gone. Big fly for Mike Trout. 2-0 Angels here in the first. Going back to getting a mistake. Breaking ball. Got it. Trout. Dead center field.
Manning's going to run. He cuts back at the one time for the goal line. Touchdown, Eli Manning.
On second and 4. Manning takes off. He's inside the 5 to the end zone. Dive. Touchdown. Away 1-on-2 behind the back. Splits throw. Oh, what a pass to Anderson.
Hardaway, oh, beautiful dish.
Harrison Grant with the jam.
The elevation now. Michael's had 2 shots blocked tonight. Penny Hardaway goes up, makes the move. He sees Horace coming. Here it is.